I'm armed with my WIPs and I'm ready to take you on the shameful journey through my current projects. The first WIP I've got on the go at the moment is my temperature sweater. I really wanted to make a temperature blanket. I just like the idea of each day, one row. But I didn't need another blanket in my life and I get bored making blankets. So I decided to do a sweater. Of course I had to do it in the round. Each round represents a day of the year. Different colour for different temperature range. Red is the hottest, and then it goes pink, and then yellow. Yellow is for like the perfect days, 20 degrees. I can't remember what the range is. And then the cooler weather, and then freezing cold. So there's only a few days of freezing cold. I started this in January. We had many 40 plus degree days in Perth, WA. So it's a very red start to the sweater. I did actually do a gauge swatch just to make sure I could do 365 rounds. But then when I started knitting, I realised that I'm almost at the end of June and nearly done with the sweater. So my gauge has gotten bigger over knitting the sweater. I think I tend to loosen up a bit when I'm knitting for a while, and the sweater, the weight of it stretches out because it's cotton. In order to avoid having a very oversized jumper that goes down to my knees and the sleeves are way too long, I decided to stop at 30th of June. So this is 6 months worth of weather for Perth. So that worked out quite well because you get half the year of seasons. I think it's a good transition. It goes from hot to cold. I'm going to stop about however much I need for the ribbing. I'll stop before then and then do the ribbing, and the ribbing will still be in the different colours for each day. So cast off will be after 30th of June. So I've used Hobbies baby cotton, the rainbow colour pack number something. It's a fingering. And what size needles have I used? 4.5. So it's nice and nice and airy. It's a it's got a good drape to it. Being cotton, it's heavy. So hopefully I can finish it by the end of, we're in September now. Hopefully I can finish it soon and I can get some wear out of it before the hot weather hits again. I wasn't doing one round a day. I was doing it in blocks of like a month. At the end of each month I would go onto the website temperatureblanket.com, I think it is. And you can put in where you live and download the temperatures for whatever date range you choose. So I would just do a big chunk at once. You'll see that I've got the sleeve. I'm doing the sleeves at the same time. I put the sleeves on to needles and started doing the sleeves as I went along, instead of just doing the whole body first and then doing the sleeves. I did that so I could just knit the chunk that I was doing, like the 30 days, following the chart online, and then put the chart away and just copy for each sleeve. I don't print out the chart, I've just got it on either my phone or laptop, so I just thought it would be easier. Like if I'm taking this out somewhere, I don't have to have the chart with me. So that's why I've got 3 sets of needles on this sweater, but it's handy. My next WIP, which I pulled out of my PhD bag. I'm working on my PhD. Project's half done. Clever knit pegs. So this is a version of my Travels beanie. A loose bead over there. My Travels beanie, but with a twist. So I'm doing a rolled hem ribbing. In my pattern the ribbing's about that long, so I've just doubled it. So I was doing ribbing for 100 years. This was my travel. It's small enough to take anyway, so I'll just do this in the car or waiting for an appointment, yada yada yada. But now I can't do that because I've added beads. I'm going to do beading on the whole body of the hat. This is the first time I've done beading. It's not smooth sailing for me. This is how much I've done. Not much. Kind of put this down for a few months. I've done the method where you thread onto the yarn first. I prefer the way it looks, the beads look when it's finished. I did try the crochet hook method, but gosh, I couldn't figure it out. Well, I could, but it just wasn't working for me. So you can't really see what the how they're gonna look. They just sit on one leg of the stitch, so one side of the V. I'll do a few more rounds, and then we'll see a bit better what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be a heavy hat, I think, with all these beads. I'm not gonna make it too much of a slouchy style. I'll make quite a fitted crown because I know the weight of the beads are gonna make it drop a little bit. You know what I mean? WIP number 3 is a granny square sweater that I started a long time ago because I just started making granny squares out of my scraps. I did as many as I could in hopes to make a sweater. One day I laid them out to see how many I'd got, to see how many more I needed for a whole sweater, long sleeve. Realised I had enough for the front and back panel. And I decided I couldn't be bothered making any more for sleeves. I had a few extras, but I just couldn't be bothered making any more granny squares. So what I decided to do was just do the sleeves and the ribbing in knit. You can see in this light. Knitted sleeves and some knitted ribbing. Seemed like a good idea at the time. So that's as far as I've got on the sleeve. It's going to be long sleeve, but I can't knit with black yarn at night, as you would know. It's a pain in the ass. And it's just using acrylic, so I find if I knit for a long time with acrylic, my hands get sore. I haven't really picked this up for a while. I'm keen to get it finished, get the neck ribbing on, and do probably a, I'm not sure if I want like a wide ribbing so it cinches in a bit, or whether I leave it quite boxy. It's a little bit oversized but not too much. A bit more ribbing so it's not too cropped, because I don't really like cropped jumpers. But it'll look like I'm wearing one of my grandma's old rugs. I had a few squares left over, not enough for sleeves. So what I decided to do was do something with them. So I put that WIP down and started a new one. WIP number 4. So this is how many squares I had left. 16. I didn't mention, but for the sweater as well, I do continuous join as you go, where you crochet the border colour around, join the other one as you go, join these squares with the black, and then just started knitting granny clusters around. So I'm doing 2 rounds of black and then a round of colour with more of my scrap yarn that I've got lying around. Crochet blankets are a good stash buster. They use a decent amount of yarn. So I've got lots of bits of acrylic left over from the squares. As the blanket gets bigger, I can't do a complete round with some of the scraps, so I've just joined it. Ends will be woven in at a later date. I crochet over them, and I'll probably just tuck them in as best I can once they're all sewed in. It's not a masterpiece. It's a scrappy blanket. Every now and again I get the urge to sew in the ends, but not very often, as you can see. Okay, it's about lap blanket size, or at the moment, not lap blanket, more like pram size maybe. But I have no need for a pram size blanket or a baby blanket anymore. So I'm going to make this as big as I can so it fits over a small child or my lap or a couch through, just so it's functional. And I'll probably leave it folded up next to the couch and the shelves where the WIP bag is currently living. WIP number, I've lost count. I started this in lockdown, so I think it's a true representation of my mood at the time. I wanted to experiment with freeform or freestyle intarsia. So this is, I had plans for it to be a vest, so I can just uncurl it. Bottom up intarsia, diddle-diddle-dip. I just randomly added colours when I felt like it. I've done some decreases for the sleeves, the neckline. The fluff is fun. I'm not exactly sure what the shapes are. I was just going with the flow. Let's see what the back looks like. I love looking at the back of intarsia. So I finished the front panel and then I started replicating it for the back, I think. Did I? No. I haven't done the same, but what I have done is make sure that, oops, that's still attached, as you can see. So I made sure the side pieces matched. So when I seam it up, it will look seamless all the way around. I just did that freestyle, I'm not following a pattern, just kind of like measured and whatnot. And yeah, so I just, I think I'm up to the decreases now for the back. Or will this be the front? No, it will be the back. But yeah, the sides will match because I guess I was being clever at the time. Had a lot of time on my hands, stuck at home. So yeah, that was fun. And it's super quick because it's like super bulky. Just random super bulky acrylic. That's wool. That's wool. Yeah. I'll probably never wear it, but you know, it was fun. So yeah, that's the random WIP. I've also recently picked up spinning again. It's going great, as you can see. I am an expert. Not. But yeah, just want to get back into the swing of it. Just practice, practice, practice until I get half decent. I'm just starting with some natural undyed fleece until I get the hang of it again. And then I'll move on to some more exciting things, like this fleece that my mum hand dyed. I think it's written here what she used. So it's merino, dyed in April 2016. Love it. I have a feeling it was dyed with food colouring. I know she did some dye with food colouring at one point, but pretty sure that's what this is. White Suffolk, dyed April 2016. Yeah. More on spinning when I get the hang of it again. So the reason I'm getting the hang of it again is because I learnt on my mum's bottom row drop spindle, and that's mum's, so I'm not going to keep it for life, so I got my own, and it's a top well, and it's by Chloe from Woolen Works. It's a fairy bread drop spindle. I had to have it when I saw it, so I had to get back into spinning. So this is my most recent effort. It's a bit better. Practice makes perfect. The shame. Fairly certain this is the last WIP I have on the go at the moment. It's an intarsia sweater made from hobby, evergreen fingering, bottom up, knitted flat. Super fun to knit intarsia. So this is a design I created for one of the hobby campaigns that I've just fallen off the wagon. that I need to finish. If you can see, it's a star with make noise. More on that story later. But I need to do the back. I think I haven't even finished the front panel, and I pinched the needles for something else and put them on these fantabulous stitch holder thingamajiggies, also from Hobby. Game changer. I've always used waste yarn to hold stitches, or some of my other WIP, the big old stitch holders, but these are great. You don't have to thread each stitch back onto the needle. You just shove the end of the knitting needle into that, and carefully just slide the needles back onto your work. So this is going to be a sweater, long sleeve, and I still haven't decided if I'm going to do a design on the back as well. Either a big star with no text, or lots of little stars, or just plain. Having no design on the back intimidates me, because that means lots of straight knitting with one colour. So I might have to figure out some kind of design so I don't get bored and put this down again for another 3 months. Thus ends my WIP update. So thank you for watching. Goodbye from my pile of WIPs. I will endeavour to finish at least one of them and provide another update. Hopefully I won't be drowning in project bags by then. Bye!